Skyline Stories official. The elevator doors were closing. Slowly. Quietly. Like the end of something. That once meant everything. Ryan stood inside. A small bag in his hand. His eyes. Calm. But heavy. Because this time. He wasn't coming back. Wait. Her voice echoed across the marble lobby. Sharp. Desperate. The doors stopped. Opened again. And there she was. Victoria Hale. The billionaire. The woman who owned half the city. Powerful. Untouchable. And right now. Breathing like she had just run a mile. Their eyes met. Silence filled the space. Because this wasn't supposed to happen like this. You're leaving, she asked. Her voice. Not cold. Not commanding. Just, hurt. Ryan nodded slowly. Yes. One word. Simple. Final. Victoria stepped closer. Her heels echoed. But softer this time. Just like that, she asked. No explanation. Ryan looked at her. Then away. Because explaining would only make it harder. It's better this way, he said quietly. Better for who? She shot back. A pause. For you, she continued. Or for me? Ryan didn't answer. Because the truth was complicated. And painful. Say something, she demanded. But there were no orders in her voice now. Only emotion. Ryan exhaled slowly. Then finally said. You deserve someone who fits your world. Silence. Because that wasn't what she expected. Victoria's brows furrowed. And you don't? She asked. Ryan gave a small, bitter smile. I'm a single dad, he said. I pack lunches at 6 a.m. I rush home before bedtime. I don't belong in your world of billion-dollar deals. Victoria stepped closer. Now just inches away. And what if I don't want that world? She asked softly. Ryan froze. Because that question was dangerous. Because it meant she was willing to change. And he wasn't sure he could let her. You say that now, he replied quietly. But one day, you'll regret it. Victoria shook her head. No, she said firmly. I'll regret losing you. Silence. Deep. Real. Because this wasn't about money. Or power. Or status. This was love. And it was slipping away. Ryan tightened his grip on his bag. Because staying would mean risking everything. His daughter. His peace. His simple life. I can't do this, he said. Almost a whisper. And turned. Ready to leave again. But then. Victoria spoke. One last time. One question. Soft. Broken. Was any of it real? Ryan froze. Completely. Because that question hit deeper than anything else. Not about money. Not about status. But about truth. About them. His back still facing her. He closed his eyes. Memories rushed in. Her smile. Late night talks. The way she laughed. When no one else was around. The way she looked at him. Not as a billionaire. But as a man. His grip loosened. His breath slowed. Because the answer was simple. But saying it would change everything. He slowly turned back. Looked at her. Really looked. And in that moment, The strongest man in the room. Looked like he was about to break. Ryan couldn't move. Not forward. Not back. Because her question. Was any of it real? Still echoed in his chest. And it hurt. More than leaving. More than staying. Because this was the truth he was trying to avoid. He slowly turned around. Faced her again. Victoria stood there. Still. Waiting. Not as a billionaire. Not as someone powerful. But as a woman. Afraid of the answer. Ryan took a deep breath. Then said. Yes. One word. But it shattered everything. Victoria's eyes filled instantly. Because that was all she needed to hear. It was real, Ryan continued. Every moment. Silence. Heavy. Honest. I didn't fake anything, he said. I didn't stay for money. I stayed, because of you. Victoria's lips trembled slightly. Because that truth was both beautiful and painful. Then why are you leaving? She asked. Her voice breaking now. Ryan looked down. Struggling. Because this was the part no one ever understood. I'm not leaving because I don't love you, he said quietly. Victoria froze. I'm leaving because I do. Silence. Confusing. Heartbreaking. Real. Ryan stepped closer. Not too close. But enough. You deserve a life without limits, he said. No compromises. No sacrifices. Victoria shook her head. That's my choice, she said. I choose you. Ryan closed his eyes briefly. Because those words were everything. And exactly why he had to walk away. And what about my daughter? He asked softly. Victoria paused. Just for a second. But he saw it. That hesitation. Not doubt. But reality. A life she wasn't used to. A world she didn't live in. Early mornings. School runs. Messy kitchens. Bedtime stories. Ryan smiled sadly. That's not your world, he said. Victoria stepped forward instantly. Then teach me, she said. Firm. Certain. I can learn. Ryan looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, he saw something new. Not a billionaire. Not a CEO. But a woman. Willing to fight. For him. For them. Why? He asked quietly. Why would you give all that up? Victoria didn't hesitate. Because none of it matters without you. Silence. Pure. Unfiltered. Ryan's walls started to crack. Because no one had ever chosen him like that. Not his past. Not his life. Just him. And if it gets hard, he asked. It will, she replied instantly. No doubt. A small step closer. But I won't leave. Another pause. Will you? That question turned everything. Ryan looked at her. At the honesty. At the courage. At the love. She wasn't afraid to show anymore. And for the first time, he didn't see risk. He saw possibility. His grip on the bag loosened. Slowly. He placed it on the floor. A small action. But a big decision. Victoria noticed. Her breath caught. Because she understood. He wasn't leaving. Not anymore. Ryan stepped closer. Now only inches apart. And softly said. If you're really sure. Victoria nodded. Without hesitation. I am. A long pause. Then. Ryan smiled slightly. The kind of smile he hadn't shown before. Then we try, he said. Victoria's eyes filled again. But this time. Not with fear. With hope. Real. Fragile. Beautiful. And just like that. The ending. Became a beginning. Not perfect. Not easy. But real. Because sometimes. Love isn't about perfect timing. It's about choosing each other. Even when it's hard, the bag stayed on the floor. Unmoved. Just like him. Ryan didn't pick it up again. Because this time. He wasn't leaving. Victoria stood in front of him. Still. Almost afraid to breathe. As if one wrong move would break the moment. You stayed, she whispered. Ryan looked at her. Softly. I said we'd try, he replied. A small correction. But it mattered. Because this wasn't a fairy tale. This was real. And real needed effort. Victoria nodded slowly. I understand, she said. No promises. No illusions. Just, us. Ryan gave a faint smile. Exactly. Silence followed. But this time. It wasn't heavy. It was calm. Hopeful. Then. His phone buzzed. He looked down. A message. Dad, where are you? Your late crying face. Ryan sighed lightly. Then looked at Victoria. Reality, he said. She smiled softly. I want to meet her, she said. No hesitation. No fear. Ryan studied her face. Looking for doubt. For hesitation. But there was none. Only sincerity. Okay, he said. Simple. But meaningful. Now, she asked. Ryan raised an eyebrow slightly. You sure, he said. She might ask you 100 questions. Victoria let out a small laugh. Good, she replied. I have a lot of answers to give. Ryan picked up his bag again. But this time. It didn't feel like leaving. It felt like moving forward. Together. Minutes later. They stood outside a small school. Children running. Parents waiting. A normal world. Ryan's world. Victoria looked around. Quietly taking it all in. No cameras. No luxury. Just life. Different? Ryan asked. Victoria shook her head gently. Better, she said. Before he could respond. A small voice shouted. Dad! A little girl ran toward them. Lily. Bright. Full of life. Ryan knelt down instantly. Hey, sweetheart, he said. She hugged him tightly. Then noticed. Victoria. Curious eyes. Innocent. Who's she? Lily asked. Ryan stood up slowly. Glanced at Victoria. Then back at Lily. This is. Victoria, he said. A pause. Victoria stepped forward slightly. Kneeling down to Lily's level. Hi, she said gently. I've heard a lot about you. Lily tilted her head. Are you rich? She asked bluntly. Ryan sighed. Lily. But Victoria laughed softly. A little, she said. Lily nodded seriously. Then asked. Do you make my dad smile? Silence. Because once again. A child asked the hardest question. Victoria looked at Ryan. Then back at Lily. And answered honestly. I want to, she said. Lily studied her carefully. Then smiled. Okay, she said. And held out her tiny hand. Victoria looked surprised. But took it. And in that moment, something changed. Not forced. Not planned. But real. Ryan watched them. Quietly. Because this was what he was afraid of. And what he hoped for. At the same time, Victoria looked up at him. Still holding Lily's hand. And for the first time, she didn't look like a billionaire. She looked like someone who found something priceless. Ryan smiled. Not guarded. Not unsure. Just real. Because maybe. Just maybe. This could work. Not because it was easy. But because they chose it. Every step. Together. And sometimes. That's all love needs. A choice. A chance. And the courage. To stay.